welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the Code A tournament of the GSL.
Where are our heroes, man? There's 3 Protosses left in Code A.
That's right, man.
All 3 of them are playing today.
Today is Protoss Day. It's actually more Zerg Day because there's actually 4 Zergs today. And then there's going to be
match.
3 Protosses playing those Zergs and 1 Terran playing one of those Zergs as well. But I hope you guys are pumped up. I am pumped. Today is the second day of the round of 16. Today determines who goes to the up and down matches and who remains in, as Wolf likes to call it, Code A Purgatory. Or is that Doa that came up with that? You came up with that first.
Me.
Okay. It's a good term. We can all use it. Yeah, the Code A Purgatory of just getting to the round of 16 and then no farther. Yesterday we saw Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know if you realized. I don't know if you saw our cast.
I wasn't able to see it.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Was in every season of Code A and never got to the up and down matches until yesterday.
Well, that's very exciting for him.
Yeah, very exciting for him. Here's our matches for today. As we mentioned, lots of PVZs. JYP versus FruitDealer. Oz versus Superstar. MVP Dream is the only Terran today. He's going to be facing FXO Lucky. And Czech Prime Wee is going to be facing off against the possibly up-and-coming Protoss legend.
Yeah, everyone's talking about this guy. I gotta say, when he won his first game, I wasn't extremely impressed with him, but I thought he's pretty solid. I'd like to see him play again. I'd like to see other matchups. His PVZ has been quite strong in games I've watched of him in the past, and I think Czech's gonna have his work cut out for him here.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Czech, as much as he's been improving recently, has still just not looked very impressive.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Yeah, I'm really curious to see what happens with both Sage and with JYP, because this season, Sage is kind of the guy that everyone's like, oh, he's a good Protoss, he's actually going to be good, he's the next Protoss Bonjour, he's going to kill everyone, and you know, I'm the kind of guy that I don't really buy into that. I have to see the results first before I really believe it. But last season, JYP was that guy, where everyone's like, oh, JYP is going to kill everyone, and he actually just like barely got the up and down matches and actually only got like 1 or 2 wins in the up and down matches and didn't go past that. So JYP has some proving to do here in my eyes, as does Sage. But there is FruitDealer.
He's proven himself in the past. Can he continue to prove himself? Yeah. Today's a big day for FruitDealer. Obviously, he was able to get a 2-1 win over Sase. The loss he had in that set was actually due to his own all-in failing against Sase. And, you know, I gotta say, FruitDealer looked pretty good against Sase, but Sase's a much less experienced player. He hasn't been in Korea for very long, and FruitDealer has been training with Koreans on 2 awesome teams, TSL and StarTale, for a really long time. So, you know, I don't know if that's really indicative of FruitDealer's skill or more of his experience over Sase.
Yeah, and here's JYP beat Juke2, another Zerg player. So he's got some experience beating Zergs recently. He's been practicing versus Zerg since for an extra week, I guess. Well, I guess FruitDealer is practicing versus Protoss also, so never mind. But yeah, so he is coming off of a win versus Juke2. That was also a situation where I think JYP just kind of outclassed Juke2.
Yeah, Juke2 had twice the supply of JYP in one game, and JYP still won.
Yeah. That was a bit of a silly series, to be honest with you. But yeah, Juke2, he just somehow got onto the qualifiers. They're saying something funny in the chat. I wish I could read it. All I can read is the the laughing there. Anyway, yeah, I think FruitDealer, you know, FruitDealer is a lot of the older stars, like from the first couple seasons, that really showed themselves there. A lot of them just kind of like really fell off and like just became bad. They were just really good at the beginning of the game, but the skill of the game advanced so quickly they got surpassed. FruitDealer, he's actually one of the few players from had a successful first couple open seasons that stayed solid. He hasn't stayed as a star, but he's actually been competitive this whole time.
It's true. He's never been fully out yet. And, you know, a lot of people expected him to lose last season, and you know, and some people perhaps might have even predicted Sase to beat him just because Sase's been training so hard and FruitDealer just hasn't seemed to be doing extremely well. But I think this is definitely a situation where FruitDealer is the underdog. I think JYP has probably got an advantage here, but we're about to find out as the map is loading who's going to take this first game. I am Wolf, and with me is Voltrap, GSL Code A.
Sony Ericsson, Intel, and G-Skill. And thank you to our yellow Zerg spawning at the top right-hand spawn of
Starting FruitDealer.
this map.
Daybreak.
Daybreak. There he is with his little mini Hydralisk on its little crystal pedestal. And here is the next Protoss Bone Draw from last season.
GSL JYP.
Who isn't actually Protoss Bone Draw just yet. By the way, for those of you that are new to the scene, Bone Draw is like a term for like the best of a time. Is basically, that's not like a translation, but that's kind of what it indicates.
Yeah, that's basically what a bone draw is.
So people might say like, well, there's a lot of debate as to what qualifies a bone draw, but you know, if you go back into the Brood War days, for instance, there was a time when Savior was just completely dominant for an entire year, so he was the bone draw at that time. So don't know if we've even have enough StarCraft 2 to really say anyone's come close to that.
Yeah, I personally feel that the closest person to a bone draw in StarCraft 2 as an ST, but he's not as dominant as bone draw requires. Yeah. Oh, nice hatchery block there. So that's going to be very annoying for FruitDealer. He has to make a spawning pool immediately.
Yeah, he might take out that probe if he continues doing battle with it.
Yeah, the probe actually is probably going to get taken out here.
Oh, cornered!
Nice job by FruitDealer.
And owned.
Yeah, Nexus first goes down for JYP.
Interesting.
Of course,
he should have known that he forced the pool first, but it's still such a long rush distance that you could still get that down.
Long rush distance, plus he knows the pool's going to be late because he knew the drone was positioned to do a hatch first, so he knew that the pool was much later, around 16, rather than a more normal pool timing.
Just to drop some stats on you guys real quick, I was looking at these guys' stats, and JYP is actually pretty good versus Zerg. His main matchup is versus Protoss. He's actually extremely good PvP, but he's coming off some wins versus Zerg. I mean, he just beat Juke2, as we mentioned before, but before that he actually, one of the few wins he got, or actually the only win he got, I think, in the up and down matches was against Violet, who was a Zerg player, and then previous to that, last season of Code A, he took Dong Regu out of Code A by beating him, so he's on a winning streak versus Zergs. FruitDealer, on the other hand, he's kind of been about middling versus Protoss, so, you know, he doesn't have really that kind of momentum going in, but, you know, he has beaten Sase recently, and before that, he faced off against Ace in the Super Tournament, so it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of time for FruitDealer to play against Protosses, but he won against his most recent Protoss opponent, of course. Now that probe did drop a pylon to block a potential fast third base from FruitDealer. Unfortunately for JYP though, there was an overload that spotted it immediately. So whether or not he wanted to take a fast third base, he basically just lost that pylon immediately. Didn't really buy him any extra time. Just killed it. Neutral depot being killed as well to help the wall off.
Not the depot.
I think we just supply block Daybreak.
I don't know. It depends on how many units are there on the map, or how many automatons.
Well, I don't know how much supply an automaton is. It's probably about 9, I would say.
Probably 1 supply, man.
I don't know. I think it's like 9.
Those things are small.
They're powerful though.
What is their power?
I don't know. Something like over 9,000.
What? 9,000?
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's what the scouter said when I checked it.
I'm gonna crush my headset in my hand now because it's the closest thing I have to a scouter. Then I couldn't cast GSL though, so I think I'll hold back.
Well, JYP has actually quickly taken all 4 of his gases, while FruitDealer's taken a fast third. I think we're gonna see Stargate come up here pretty soon for JYP.
Yeah, definitely. He's getting a little bit, playing a little bit risky here off of like 1 cannon and no units. Oh no, he's got 1 Zealot in the gap there, but just 1 cannon here. He's got to get something out here pretty quick, otherwise he risks getting some pressure put on him by FruitDealer. Of course, you know, he can anticipate FruitDealer's probably not going to try and break him because that would be a dangerous move as well.
Yeah, well, he knows most likely FruitDealer isn't going to break him because he keeps checking with the Zealot to see if there are a lot of Zerglings out there. Also, he knew his gas was late because of the opening that FruitDealer did. He was able to scout that. So he knows that there's going to be an aggressive move coming from FruitDealer. It's going to be a while. FruitDealer actually going for a very quick lair here.
Yep, and he is taking that third as well, trying to put some drones down to it. And, I mean, those are kind of the 2 responses. If a Protoss Forge fast expands, you need to, they're getting an advantage out of it, and you need to either punish them for it or get the same advantage, basically. So you need to either try and put some pressure on or get that quick third yourself. And so that's what we've seen. Actually, this is kind of like, usually Zergs will get that third. Recently, like the last week, we've started seeing Zergs just go for fast infestors in response to this.
That is true. Well, double Stargate going down, I knew that he was going to have to eventually get it. He added 3 more gateways before this, but he had so much gas. I was like, well, what's he going to use the gas for? It's even too much gas for just 4 gates with sentries. So he is adding double Stargate here. Probably going to make a few Void Rays, but mostly go for Phoenix-oriented play. Now the Evolution Chamber is already up. No spores just yet. Burrow and Roach Speed coming out as soon as the layer finishes. But by all of these pylons being placed around the map, I think we're going to see possibly a little bit of a timing attack from JYP. He's going to have to execute this really carefully. We've seen a lot of Stargate timing attacks, like we saw Naniwa tried to use that just a few days ago. Warp in Zealots and use your Void Rays and Phoenixes to try to pick off units, but it's very difficult to execute. And 2 Void Rays being Chrono Boosted out.
Yeah, you have to be very careful as to positioning of your army, what's behind what, what's attacking what. You have to be good with your force fields as well. And the Roaches are starting to pop out for FruitDealer now that he's got his 3 bases going. Hydralisk then going down as well for FruitDealer. I'm not sure if he scouted those Stargates, but he suspects something and wants to make sure he is prepared, and that is going to be really good. If he had waited until he saw Void Ray to get out that Hydralisk Den, he would actually probably just lose the game, because there are 2 Void Rays out and there's going to be 2 more.
Nice force fields here trapping some of the Roaches. But I'm not sure if he should continue to engage this, even though he's got a really large army. He doesn't want to use all that sentry energy. Besides, he doesn't know how many Roaches are accompanying this. It looks like he wants to engage. Burrow, unfortunately, though, is finished.
Nice.
So he has to go home. And JYP is actually hiding his Void Rays. He's actually continuing to Chrono Boost them out. He's got 2 more on the way. And actually 2 more following those are already rallied in there. So he is actually going to go for
He's going to wait for 6 Void Rays.
Super sneaky Void Ray tactic.
And he's showing a lot of gateway units at the same time, trying to convince FruitDealer, okay, I'm just going for a gateway-heavy army.
Yeah, FruitDealer's been making a lot of Roaches. He's already gone up to 19. He's continuing to drone right now. The worker count is 64 drones to 55 probes, 10 drones in production, about to finish.
Yeah, I still think FruitDealer's going to be prepared for this, though, because he's got the Hydra Den. Hydra range is about to finish. As soon as he shows those Void Rays, all he has to do is back up with his Roaches, and he's going to try and pick off. It looks like he was going to try and target down those sentries, and now he sees the Void Rays
are out. Force Fields going down, but the problem is he can just burrow.
There you go. He can just burrow, and Hydralisks immediately begin production. And all he needs, I mean, that's a lot of Void Rays, but if he can get out maybe 10 Hydralisks, that'll be enough to deal with it.
Yeah, and you can even burrow his Hydralisk, do all sorts of things. I mean, he should be perfectly fine. He can even burrow Queens that are about to die until he can get enough Hydras out. 12 Hydras in production now, and these Roaches are denying the third quite easily. Here come the Void Rays, though, going for that Evolution Chamber immediately, so he can't make any additional spores.
And the Hydras are popping out as we speak. The Queen needs to, doesn't micro the Queen, doesn't burrow micro it, rather.
These Void Rays are all charged, so they can do a ton of damage. The Hydra's being picked up by Phoenixes, so he can isolate a few of those. Does lose a Phoenix.
Nicely done by FruitDealer. Lost a little bit there, but he didn't go and just send his units in piecemeal. Oh, hold that thought. These Roaches might get caught.
Not the best control there by JYP, and the probe that's trying to make a pylon is trying to push through those Roaches.
Oh, and he actually picks off that probe before retreating fully with those Roaches. Nicely done. Oh, but they get caught by the Void Rays.
And the Observer is out, so of course, even if he burrows, cannot escape. But FruitDealer has got a really good composition right now. He's got 20 Hydras out. He's got 13 more on the way. He's going to have a very large Hydra army. If his creep spread were a little bit better, he could be a little bit more aggressive. But essentially, JYP just is starting his third, and as soon as FruitDealer spreads his creep a little bit more, he can easily take a 4th base. In fact, he's already taking a hidden 4th in the bottom right. JYP is going to have to start doing something a little bit more than just poking with Void Rays, but is he going to be able to do that? Look how many Hydras that is.
A ton of Hydras, and he's pumping out Roaches to follow up with that, or he was pumping out some more Roaches, and he's going to go ahead and take a 4th, it looks like. Yeah, there's the Roaches right now, 12 Roaches. I think we're going to see an attack once those Roaches come out, because then he will have a good Roach buffer to sit in front of the Hydras, and soak up fire from the Stalkers, do damage to the Stalkers, and the Hydras just sit behind and deal so much damage. Those Void Rays won't be able to do anything against that many Hydras.
Well, what he wants to do here is continue to trade his army now that he's taking that fourth middle map. Like I said, once his creep gets pretty close to that, he can do that. And, you know, he's actually just going to continue to push right now, despite not having creep. I don't think it's the best idea to try to push up this area here. Of course, it's already a Colossus out. His opponent's going to have better concave. You can drop force fields. And he doesn't have enough roaches to burrow, but of course, JYP actually not force fielding immediately here. That was a close call.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he could get all that stuff force fielded in. I didn't realize there was a Colossus out. That completely changes the picture.
This is a much better place to engage for FruitDealer. He's going to go over to where the third base is. He's going to break this wall up. Of course, all of these buildings are canceled. There are a few cannons here to help out, but that's so many Hydras. They're going to do so much damage. They don't have any upgrades besides range, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter. Doing so much damage in the third base location. The Void Rays are doing a decent amount of damage. Good force fields here. And the Colossus is actually coming into play quite a bit. Yeah, looks like JYP is actually going to hold this quite well.
Another Colossus coming in from the bottom as well. Yeah, the Colossus just sitting in the back doing so much damage. And FruitDealer, I really am not sure why he engaged when he saw the Colossus there in a position where he couldn't snipe it.
And
he just got a Spire. Why didn't he just wait for Corruptors?
I think part of his decision there was, well, I'm not on creep. I can't really retreat very easily.
Well, that's true.
I need to make this engagement do as much damage as possible, so he targeted down the Nexus. And if he had actually engaged an army straight up, he would have traded a little bit better, but he got the Nexus. But now JYP has this better army. He's actually going to push out here and kill this fourth base. Luckily, though, FruitDealer has transferred some drones down to his hidden base that JYP doesn't yet know about. Actually, I take it back, he just spotted that with Zealot.
Roaches and Lings getting caught out in the middle of the map and roasted.
They are actually going to go run around here to the third base yet again, and FruitDealer just wants to repeatedly engage his force cancels and eventually out-macro his opponent. But Roaches are getting trapped in the middle of the map as well. JYP's army is getting so large that even if FruitDealer forces a cancel here, I'm not sure if he's going to have enough units to hold the next attack. Yeah,
that's the problem, is you can stop the economy all you want, but if you don't have an army, it doesn't actually matter. FruitDealer was even in supply before that, but now he's behind about 40 supply.
He is going to have 13 Corruptors out when this attack hits, but with all these Stalkers and the Void Rays, that's actually too many Corruptors. He actually has no real units to support them. Well, 7 Roaches and 6 Hydras against the firepower of 20 Stalkers, 3 Colossi, 6 Void Rays, and 8 Zealots, also 3 Sentries.
Yeah, this is going to be tough for him to hold. He's about 20 supply behind now at this point. He's just going to sack that. That's a good idea. Just forget that fourth
a Zealot
base,
Warpin actually kills his bottom right base as well, so he actually has lost all of his extra bases. And you know what? FruitDealer's in trouble. He actually just lost too many units in these engagements, and now JYP's army is just too strong. Here we go, engaging the main army now, taking out these Corruptors very quickly.
Yeah, taking them out very fast. He's going after the Void Rays with the Corruptors. I think it might be a better idea to try and target down the Colossi.
But either way, he's going to get neither.
He's not going to get anything. The Stalker's picking off all the Corruptors since he wasn't actually fighting with the rest of his army at the same time. And FruitDealer is going to lose the first game of this series. JYP all up in his third base. JYP has taken his third. GG. Coming from FruitDealer. So, man, for a minute there, I thought FruitDealer was in a perfect position.
Me too.
And
problem is,
JYP just got one Colossus out and had good position.
Yeah, he killed that army, and then that was an okay trade for FruitDealer. Kill your Nexus. But then FruitDealer made too many Corruptors, and also he sent another handful of about 20 Roaches to attack the base against some Zerglings. And yeah, it's good. You want to keep your opponent's base delayed as much as possible. But it was already delayed enough to where if JYP turtled up and tried to get that third up, FruitDealer would have had full mining on that 4th and 5th base. Then he would have been on Remax again and just continue to pressure at that point. But he actually pressured again too soon and didn't kill enough of JYP's army. Then suddenly he had like 7 Roaches and 4 Hydras against the massive army of JYP.
The Death Ball.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
And then 13 Corruptors came out and they were like, I could shoot at some Void Rays, and they didn't kill any of the Void Rays or the Colossi, and then it was like, I guess I lose.
Yeah, it was like you said, his idea was kind of like, all right, well, I'm just going to delay your third over and over again. You're going to be on 2 bases so long while I'm on 5 bases that I'm just going to out-macro you. But he never got those extra bases really going. He never actually got that macro in.
He never traded so efficiently enough to where JYP would have been scared to move out. So if you do pressure like that as a Zerg player and your Pro Loss opponent loses too many units and he's like, I have to remax now. If you get to that point, the Pro Loss is like, well, I don't want to move out because if I get caught in the middle of the map and lose my army, the game's over, so I want to turtle up until I'm maxed. But JYP knew FruitDealer lost too many units. I actually traded better than he did in that fight. Now I'm slowly getting a better army than him, and he attacked me again. Now I have a way better army than him, and I'm just going to kill him, even if I have to cancel my 3rd base again. I'm
a little bit, I kind of feel like if FruitDealer, when he went up that ramp and he saw the Colossus and the sentries were there and everything, he wisely turned back. But then he went in again against the same army. He had a little bit better positioning, but his Spire just finished. If he just waited maybe 30 seconds for some Corruptors come out to take out that Colossus, his army would have just absolutely slaughtered JYP's army after the Colossus was down. So, I mean, that Colossus just did so much damage from behind there. It really helped out a lot. I don't know. It could have been different. It could have ended up the same. I'm not sure, but we're going to find out what's going to happen in Game 2 if JYP is going to bring it home 2-0 or FruitDealer can tie it up here at the GSL Pro Day.